I thought my life was just fine when I woke up having been raised by the strongest soldier of humanity. Despite being left by my father, Kenny the Ripper, I didn't even feel the hollow emptiness of having no parents. After all, my brother is with me. The deafening hiss of the ODM gear shot in every corner of the place. All citizens looked up to see the continuous uproar happening in the roof of Bnha. Both scouts, garrison troops and military police got together for one target. That woman. Her sweat trickled ominously as she made her pace faster, away from the number of scouts chasing after her. Somehow she managed to outrun even the strongest soldier of humanity could offer, so she was pretty confident that she could get by the wall. But everything isn't that simple as I thought. Losing 3 years of memory meant 3 years of having the deepest and dark secrets that will destroy the lifetime love and trust of everyone else. Spy as she is, a treacherous creature blending amongst humans, she must leave or she'll be caught like Annie. She shrugged her head, shaking away the sweat that was blocking her line of sight until she heard a gunshot. Losing her momentum and slamming her back on the roof, rolling twice before she was back to her footing and continued to maneuver her ODM gear, despite the pain that hit her waist. She glanced back, finding that even some punks on the ground was aiming at her. She hissed. She made a sharp right, at least the closest to the high wall, so she could at least retreat. All that and you can't even catch a wounded girl, she mocked. Not until someone appeared flashily into her peripherals. Instinctively raising her swords to clash with the only man quick enough to phase her speed. "Surrender now, you idiot," Levi shouted, pushing his blade through her. Why? Why me? Why did I deserve this? Why do I have to sacrifice myself for people's principles that I never even understood? How did I become a warrior? The slow process of the healing of the shot on her waist wasn't helping a bit that her shaky arms were pushed back, and the blade severed her shoulder. She pushed the blade away, but half of it remained on her body as she landed on one of the roofs, forcing herself not to cry. And then what? Torture me on the verge of death? Wait till I heal back and torture me again? She hissed back. The shine of his eyes gave a pained expression. She's the only family he has left. And he knew what was going to happen, betraying the rock-hard expression he was first expressing that made her chuckle silently. "I knew it," she whispered. Levi once again attacked, giving a kick as she deflected, trying to trip him with her own feet at the same time, maintaining the balance from where she stood as blood began staining her skin. Kicking him away, she once again jumped off the roof, her strategy to hurry into the supposed escape route before more soldiers surrounded her. She manoeuvred her gears once again. The healing wound still pains her, but she had no other choice but to move ahead. Once again, humanity's strongest soldier was able to catch up, stalling more and more time for her delay of escape. "Why does it have to be you?" Levi asks. They clashed with their weakened swords once again. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was me either," she replied sadly. She didn't want to do it either, but being required to do it was not an excuse. "I can't still remember you crying when I returned. The embrace I longed to have from my precious brother as he told me the numbers of days I was gone. How I scared him every day of my absence, that he never find my dead body or me. He didn't want to lose anyone again, like how we lost Isabel and Farlan." Then Levi blankly stood on the end of the roof. He prepared his sword once again and ran towards her. "I'll have to capture you. This is my order," he said as well. She sadly smiled. "Yes, I'm ordered to have your head if possible as well," she quietly replied. Both attacked one another once again, their abilities on par with one another that not one of this glorified populace could ever go up against. as if watching two gods of deathly destroy one another and killing their own sense, with the shred of humanity left within. For another minute she ran off again as the sight of everyone from the 104th started approaching. No, she can't. She doesn't want to see those disgusting faces. She landed from another roof, but once soon stopped by the pain. Joining the training corps and finding new friends, it was one of the most eventful things she has. Everyone was nice to her, literally. And she found another far cousin, who's also an Ackerman, named Mikasa. Then, for some reason, she was pulled into Reiner's group, sometimes Annie's companion, oftentimes a moderator of John and Aaron's fights, sometimes the referee as well. It was fun, not until another breach happened. The truth that Reiner forced upon her, the horror of those years she was gone. Her eyes widened when a blade suddenly passed through her belly, piercing her from the front to back. Turning to her first and last person she always thought would be the end of her, the stab made by Levi once again held pain, deeper than the gut. Tears streamed down her face as the blade remained in her stomach. Yes, that's right, she coughed. Drips of blood gushed out of her lips, and some of the blood hit his cheek. Wyan, there couldn't be any more regret than this, losing the one that kept you to walk into the path of life. But you'll have to let it go because of the selfish need of others? To hell with life. Just because she was a Titan who was forced to do this. Her who took all the blame for the sins she didn't commit. Tears streamed down his eyes, as well as he watched her drool with blood. What are you crying for? It's not like I'm going to die. She laughed. But in the end, you're still the one who has to sacrifice everything for everyone's sake. I'm sorry, brother. Kicking him away, she backed off and tripped down as she started falling into the wide river. She smiled, blood raining down of her wounds as if slowly unfolding the reality that the only family he has is finally leaving him. Don't! Levi screamed, kneeling on the roof as he watched her. Don't go! A small splash drowned into the wide river as few more silhouettes from the surface began to land on every roof. Her eyes watched as she sunk slowly, still some bloodstains mixing up with the water as she closed her eyes. For I have given a role as the sacrificial lamb of my fellow warriors. My incompetent not only disappointed my elders, and now I have received my orders. To impersonate the traitors, to become the traitor. I was called a daughter once, a warrior then a soldier, but one thing kept my sanity intact. That is, having a brother like you. I wish we could have had more time together, smile with everyone else, laugh at the most stupid things. Have everyone known that I am the happiest with you. Goodbye, and thank you, brother. I don't want to go. Drip, drip, drip. Aizawa frowned and stopped writing on the board when a drop of water from the ceiling landed on his head. His tired eyes looked up sheepishly, seeing that the dripping began to be even more. He moved to his right and observed. The students were watching him do that as well. I guess I have to ask the maintenance to... Crash. Passing through the wall magically, a girl fell above the unprepared teacher. A water equivalent to a tub fell completely off the ceiling as everyone stood and gasped. What's going on? Another villain attack? Bnha asked, panicked. Everyone stay back. Aizawa waved everyone as he looked at the new existence that appeared before him. The sight of it made him frown again. Finding an unconscious girl with your hair-coloured locks and skin-coloured complexion. She was wearing some type of uniform that was stenched with blood and some kind of gear attached to the harnesses on her leg, with some type of swords in them, as his mouth opened in both confusion and curiosity. A kid? His eyes trailed towards her stomach that still had a sword planted in it. Shoulder was gashed deep in the arm, and her waist obviously shot. She began to cough moments later. Water and blood got out of her mouth as she coughed. Her eyes opened, seen as a weird-looking man patched up in black clothing and white scarf was in front of her. But all curiosity flew when she felt all pain in every part of her body. "Kid, stay conscious if you could. I've called the medics. They'll be here any minute now." "Who are you?" She shot back, forcing herself to stand up, and she successfully did, pulling off the blade on her stomach, and she coughed out blood once again. "Listen, calm down and stay still," Aizawa called out. "No, not unless you identify yourself and where I am." She picked up her sword and made a stance. She wasn't panicked at all. Her demeanour was calm but alert that it amazed Aizawa how she can be this composed despite being severely wounded. "You know that we're the ones who should be asking that?" She flinched, jumping off to another far corner when someone sternly spoke up. She turned to them instinctively. Not just one, but 20 pairs of eyes stared at her, wearing some sort of uniform. Probably military people or some other part of the wall. "God damn it, more soldiers!" she cursed. The wound on her shoulder began to steam, slowly forming back to close. "Soldiers?" The teacher watched her in bewilderment. "Missy, I order you to calm down. Sit still and wait for the medic. You'll die of blood loss." "Why would I listen to you? Holy shit, those clothes are floating," she asked, pointing to the uniform that lacked the physique of a person wearing it. "Oh, you mean me?" Hagakure asked. The sleeves waved at her as all hell broke loose. "Is this the afterlife I keep hearing of? I didn't know it actually existed. Are you these freaks the God Kings or something?" she asked, pointing a sword at Aizawa's direction. Pfft. Most students hardly tried not to laugh. The girl looked at them confused. "Which part of the world are you from? You look like a country pumpkin." A pink, unearthly woman laughed. She frowned at the strange woman, then a black bird? A deformed creature and a grape head? She tightened the hold on her sword in disbelief, her eyes fuzzy from all blood loss and accidental concussion. Her body once again collapsed when everything turned black. Aizawa sighed. "I told you to stay conscious."